Okay, number 20, solve the inequality. First step in solving the inequality is we solve that as is. So in order to solve that, 10 minus x is less than 5. First thing we're going to do is get rid of the square root, so we square both sides. So we get 10 minus x is less than 25. We subtract 10 from both sides and we get x is less than 15. That's really a negative 1x. So to get rid of the negative, we are going to divide by negative 1, which causes this inequality sign to flip, although we really aren't looking at that sign. This, negative 15, is now a critical number for us. To get other critical numbers, we now need to find the domain of our radical. So we take the inside of the radical and set it greater than or equal to 0, because it is a square root and we cannot plug in a negative number into a square root. Solving, I can move the x to the other side and I get 10 is greater than or equal to x. Our next step in this, we need to write down 10 being a critical number, but our next step is to sketch a number line. This is not an official number line, but it is a place for us to look so that we have a visual aid to help us. So, negative 15 is on the left, 10 is on the right. Now, our domain that's here, this was our domain. We want to pay attention to that because that automatically means I can cross off one of these sections. It says x is less than or equal to 10. The only section that is not less than or equal to 10 is the section above it. So that gets crossed off. We need to look at our critical numbers and decide if they are dotted or solid. Our domain was greater than or equal to, so that causes solid. Our original inequality symbol is not an equal to, so that is a dotted. With the two sections that remain after crossing out are not in the domain, we have to pick values out of these sections and check them. So I'm going to pick the number negative 26 and the number negative 6. So now we're going to check those two values. So we are going to check negative 26 in our original inequality. So the square root of 10 minus a negative 26, is that less than 5? 10 minus a negative becomes plus, so 10 plus 26 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. Is 6 less than 5? No, it is not. Since we wrote no there, it is no on our number line. We're now going to check negative 6. Plug negative 6 into our original. So we have 10 minus a negative 6. Is that less than 5? 10 minus a negative 6 becomes plus. So 10 plus 6 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. Is 4 less than 5? That does work. So now we need the inequality that represents that section of the graph where negative 6 came from. So this side is dotted. So we are at negative 15 is less than x all the way up to, this side is solid, so less than or equal to 10. Number 21. Okay, first thing we need to do is isolate the root so that we can solve. We're going to move the negative 4 to the other side, and we get the square root of 2x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 9. To get rid of the square root, we are going to square both sides. So we get 2x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 81. Move the 3 to the other side, we get 2x is greater than or equal to 78. Divide by 2, and we get x is greater than or equal to 39. So our first critical number is 39. Now we need to find the domain of the radical. So domain, take our inside 2x plus 3, set it greater than or equal to 0, and solve. So we get 2x is greater than or equal to negative 3, divide by 2, so x is greater than or equal to negative 3/2. This is our second critical number. Again, we are going to make ourselves a number line so that we have a visual aid to see what's going on. We have negative 3/2, and we have 39. Now, our original inequality symbol was an equal to, so our 39 is a solid line. Our domain is an equal to, so that also is a solid line. Again, crossing off one of the sections that does not agree with the domain, we want to do first. So it says x is greater than or equal to negative 3/2. The section that is less than is this section to the left. So that section gets crossed off. We need to pick numbers in both of the remaining sections to check. I am going to pick 1/2 and 40. So, checking 1/2. Plug 1/2 into the original inequality. So negative 4 plus the square root of 2 times 1/2 plus 3, is that greater than or equal to 5? Negative 4 plus the square root, 2 times 1/2 is 1. So I have negative 4 plus the square root of 1 plus 3 is 4. So I have negative 4 plus the square root of 4 is 2. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Is negative 2 greater than or equal to 5? And that is a no. So the section up on the graph that has 1/2 gets crossed off. Our last check, we are checking 40. So we take 40 and plug it in. Negative 4 plus the square root of 2 times 40 plus 3, is that greater than or equal to 5? Negative 4 plus the square root, 2 times 4 is 80, plus 3, is that greater than or equal to 5? Negative 4, oops, not plus or minus, sorry about that. Negative 4 plus the square root of 83, is that greater than 5? Now, I don't expect you to know the square root of 83. You would go ahead and plug that into a calculator, and you get negative 4 plus 9.11 and a whole bunch of other stuff. Is that greater than or equal to 5? Negative 4 plus 9.11 is 5.11 with all that other stuff. Is that greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So we keep this last section and we just have to write the inequality for it. So it was closed. So x is greater than or equal to 39. make sure you do your critical number and not the number that you checked. Okay.